love to introduce our next speaker, author, Richard Sennett.
Hello, can you all hear me? No. How about I turn it on? Is that better?
Yes.
All right. Like our previous speaker, I like to walk around as well. Now, he was talking about the dangers of paranormal research. Yeah, there are dangers. Guess what? Not all ghosts are Casper the Friendly Ghost. Now, I believe that the ghost world does reflect our real world, and fortunately, there aren't a lot of evil people in the world. They make up 5 or 10%, right? Same is true of ghosts. They're far more helpful than negative ones, but negative ones do exist. I'm here to talk not so much about the dangers of the paranormal, because that was pretty well covered, but about another element that I found in my years of research, and that is time and ghosts. Now, how did I get involved in this nonsense? Research is, I was part of an archaeological dig in Northern California in 1978. I was working late at this old mission. I walked into the courtyard and saw a monk wearing a robe and cowl. Okay? This didn't bother me. It's still a monastery. I thought one of the brothers is up. So I went to talk to the brother. And he was walking along. Now, I could see the folds of his garment that were so real that all of a sudden, he was gone. He disappeared. He wasn't there anymore. I looked back, you know what my first impression was? He had fallen in a hole. No hole. And then I thought, well, maybe he ran away or something in the dark. And then I realized, hey, wait a minute. I am walking on gravel. If he ran away, I would have heard him. And then I realized, hey, guess what? I never heard his footsteps. I heard mine, but not his. Well, I later discovered that others had seen this ghostly monk at that mission before. But here's the question. I saw this monk walk halfway across the courtyard, and then it vanished. Where did it go? Where did it head out to? Obviously, wherever it went was someplace I couldn't go because it disappeared to me. Which brings to mind the subject of our talk, and that is that ghosts, not all, but some ghosts, might be related to time. Now, we really don't know what time is. It is something we can measure with clocks and calendars, but it's something we cannot actually define. What is it? Is it always going? Has everything happened already, as one theory holds? Or could it be that there are holes in time? And sometimes we can look back into the past or into the future. Could it be that some of the ghosts we see are, in fact, images from the past and not spirits of the dead wandering the earth? It could be that time might account for not all, but some ghostly encounters. Okay, I'll bring a few examples on this subject. 1906, England. The people of rural England saw flying above their towns large cigar-shaped ships. They reported them. Now this included doctors, pharmacists, and bobbies. They all saw these things. Now, of course, you find this material in books about UFOs. They said these were spaceships from another world. Now, the people who described the ships told that they heard engines, and that these were not driven by stellar propulsion, but propellers. Now, everyone in England knew the Germans had invented something called Zeppelins. They had actually flown them as early as 1900, and they were perfecting them. So because relations between Germany and England were disturbed, many thought, aha, the Kaiser has sent his Zeppelins to scout out the English, of course, drop spies and stuff. Well, the British Secret Service knew where every Zeppelin was. None of them had left Germany. And the Germans were too afraid that if they sent one out and it crashed, all the secrets would go to the enemy. So they were jealously guarding them. In fact, the newspapers called the sightings of these ships scare ships. Not airships, but scare ships. And for a while, it all died down. Then, in 1911, the scare ships came back. And more people saw them flying over England. And again, this wave of sightings was put down, laughed off, what have you. But just 3 years later, 1914, August of that year, conditions finally boiled over and the First World War started. And what did the Germans do? They got their airships, which they'd been perfecting, loaded them up full of bombs, and flew them that same route and bombed British cities. So what had those people seen? Had they seen spaceships from another world, or had they looked forward in time to a time years in the future when real Zeppelins would fly over and, of course, drop bombs that killed and took many British lives? So we get an interesting idea about that.